for the glory of God, I would tell a few more stories. I think maybe after this it'll do me, you know. It's written in Scripture that the angel of the Lord is encamped around those who revere him. And these things happened that didn't revere the Lord, yet the angel of God was still encamped around me to protect me. And I know looking back on it, these were miracles. They were miracles not because I was doing anything good, it was because in the future I would turn to God, and so that future would become possible, I was preserved by God through the intercession of Our Lady to live on. Oh yeah. The first story is one time there's a special regiment in the British Army. It's called the Special Air Service, SAS. There's many military units throughout the world modelled on it. It's a bit like the American Green Berets. Every army has they're basically in Ireland that they were brought in to kill people like me. So anyway, one time I was in a house and the SAS came. They came in, I think the main vehicle was a minibus. They came out of the minibus and they surrounded the house and they broke down the front door with a sledgehammer. They were all very heavily armed. So anyway, the two of us in the back, there was a family in the house, but the two of us were looking for. He says to me, what will I do, jump out the window? Here's my yes. So he jumped through the window. It wasn't open. It was big glass. He ripped his arm badly on the way out, and I jumped out after him. But the SAS were outside, and I was on the ground, and they were pointing weapons at my head all over me. That must have been 5 or 6 of them. Their officer, I remember, they were all dressed in civilian clothes. That's what they were. They were kind of what you call anti-guerrilla. You know, they posed as people that actually lived in the area. And the officer, he had long blonde hair and an earring. I remember he was dressed in denims. And they said to the officer, "Can we kill him now?" And the officer said, "No, wait until we find the arms, the guns that we had." We were betrayed by an informer, a British agent who was in the IRA, and who had told them that we were about to have a military operation against the British Parachute Regiment and open fire on them with rifles. And so that was the opportunity to kill us when they got us with the guns. But they made a mistake because the guns weren't in the house, they hadn't come yet. And anyway, I was lying on the ground. I was an atheist then. It was really, I don't know if people really are atheists or not. I don't know how much of an atheist I really was. It's not so much that people don't believe in God, it's that they choose not to believe in God, which is a different kettle of fish. So I said to God, I'm going to die now. I'm sorry for all that I've done. And I heard the voice of God saying back to me, you know, that's all right, you will come to heaven, but you'll come to heaven with empty hands, because you've never really done anything for me. And you'll spend your eternity up there knowing that you never give me anything back. And I says, I don't care as long as I get to heaven. So the officer came down and you know, they're all disappointed. They're really disappointed that they couldn't kill me because there's no guns. Which is another miracle, because there should have been guns there. They were meant to be, but there wasn't. But you know, after that there, you'd think I would have learned a bit of sense and turned back to God, but I didn't. I just went on doing what I was doing. So, anyway, there was another time I was walking down the street. I was unarmed, and around the city at them times I had like blockhouses. They were raised army observation posts, but one of the soldiers fired a bullet at me, a rifle bullet from about a range of I'd say about 300 yards, maybe a sniper, you know, deliberately to kill me. And I heard the bullet hit the wall alongside me and it knocked out a few bricks. It only missed me by inches, you know. I was right out of the blue, I didn't expect it. These army observation posts were all over Belfast. I went back the next morning to look, see if I'd imagined it, you know. But there it was, just where my head was, nearly just right beside my head. There was 2 or 3 bricks blown away. Yes, wow, you know. And another time I was taxi driving. It was late at night, and I was sent to a Protestant, a loyalist area, very bitterly anti-Catholic. And 2 men got into the car, one in front and one behind. And whenever I stopped the car outside Windsor Football Ground, which is Linfield, a bitterly anti-Catholic team, you know. We're killing Catholics like mad nowadays, especially Catholics like me, you know what I mean. If they had found out who I was, if we'd been flying from Canada and all over the world to kill me, to torture me to death, they would have given me a very bad death. But the guy in the front seat pulled out a gun, and the one in the back seat, he had a gun too. So there was 2 guns. There was a gun to my side like this from the passenger seat, and a gun to the back of my head, and said, "Get out of the car." Well, I knew that they would kill me, and getting killed is nothing. It's getting tortured to death. I mean, some people get very, very bad. Some pure Catholics get very, very bad death with torture. The hatred they have for Catholics is unbelievable. So I says, well, if I make a go for it, they'll shoot me dead, you know, to stop me from escaping. And that's a far preferable death than getting tortured, and at least have some chance of getting away. But really had no chance of getting away because, you know, 2 guns directly at your head, and I was unarmed. But as I was getting out of the car, the 2 guys with the guns were getting out too, so their guns were away, if you know what I mean, temporarily. You know, as they were getting out, the guns were withdrawn. So I jumped onto the car, fell down in the passenger seat. Like I put the car into reverse gear, and started speeding away from them. As I was doing that, they were running alongside me with the guns pointed into the car, and one says to the other, "Well, shoot him, will I shoot him?" And the other one says, "No, he might be one of ours." See, they weren't really sure whether I was a Catholic or not. They knew I was probably a Catholic, but if they shot me, they could have been shooting a Protestant, if you know what I mean. So I'd only got the car actually a few days before, and I wasn't too sure, you know, I wasn't too at home on it. But anyway, I drove along, but Emma's running alongside, but the car speeded up. But I nearly had a wall on the way out by accident, and I don't know how fast the car was going in reverse gear. I wasn't even looking out the back much. My head was down the seat, but I managed to get away from them. I was never really drunk whiskey before that, but I drank whiskey for the next week, every day, recovering from it. You know, that's a miracle too. People suffer from trauma like that there, and I've suffered from many traumas, and I've got over it totally. I don't really have nightmares or anything, you know. Uh, there's another story I was going to tell. What was it? Can't remember. See, there's been that many times, you know. Oh yes, yes. I was caught by the British Army one time. This is before I went into prison with like a hand grenade, like a explosive device. So they tied my hands behind my back with like a cable tie. It's like a plastic handcuffs, and they were getting ready to shoot me. But what they were saying is, "We'll give you a chance," and it wasn't really a chance. They told me to run. They were going to tell me to run, and then we'd shoot you in the back, and then they could say that you were trying to escape. But somebody came along and shouted over at me, "Is that you, Padraig?" So then there were witnesses, and there were more people came, and they were so annoyed, that regiment, because it spoiled them, because there's witnesses that could see them murdering me. Well, it was murdering me, you know, or call it execution, or call it whatever you like, but that's what it was. So But it was a dark night, you know, and there was nobody in the street, and suddenly there was people in the street again. You know, the angel of the Lord is encamped round those who revere the Lord to protect them. My God, there's no time. So that the fact that I reverence God now goes back into the past and into the future. You know, there's no limits for God. Uh, my last story is a funny one. The British Army used to come to Belfast on tours of duty. There's actually a film for Vietnam. I think of Vietnam, the Americans used to do that, tours of duty. In them days, I think they were coming for 3 months or 6 months. But the regiment came in wasn't a good regiment. It was called the Anglican Regiment. By not being good, I mean they weren't very competent. They had a very high rate of casualties when it came to Ireland because they weren't very good at their job, to be honest with you. God love them. So I was in a bar called McLaughlin's one night and came out with the soldiers and all armed. And I was having a pint of Guinness and they all come in and they all looked at me, and the officer came in. He was major. So he sat down in front of me and he pulled out his revolver like that there. And across the bar table he pointed the revolver at my head. He says, "You're Podrick, aren't you?" He says, "You're the main man here." He says, "These are all my soldiers. We're only here for 6 months. It's not much to ask that nothing happened to us." He says, "But if anything happens to any of my soldiers, they're like my children." And he says, if you're not responsible for it, if you're not behind it somewhere, I'd be very surprised. He says, because you seem to be in charge. He says, and anything that happens to any of my boys when they're here for 6 months, will happen to you. And he pointed the gun at my head, and he says, "I'll come back for you, and you'll pay for it." Then he left the bar. I left Belfast then for 6 months. Here's me, it's a regiment like that there, something's bound to happen to some of them, you know. Where's the miracle in that? Well, the miracle in that is they came and warned me. If you hadn't warned me, I wouldn't have been able to go away to London for 6 months. And it was a good holiday for me, you know, I worked over there. But all through that, you know, God's protection, you know. Anyway, happy Christmas to you as well. God bless.